Hello, hello. So let's try doing some texturing, and I've got some touch-ups that I want to do first, and then we'll do some UV editor modifications. We'll use the Photoshop live connection, and we will see how we go. Okay. First of all, the fact that I was lazy and didn't actually create a round extrusion is bothering me, so I would rather fake it for now and just have a flat front with a circular texture than have this circular thing being mapped onto a rectangular extrusion. So let's go ahead and do that, just because that will make me much happier. So if I right click, go into face mode, and then from my top view, I'm going to marquee select these faces, delete them, and then go into edge mode, grab this edge, and then I believe it's shift double click on the next edge, and that was correct. Shift double click, and it grabbed the rest of the edge loop. And I'm going to fill that hole, which is under mesh, fill hole, but then this vertex still needs an edge right here. So I do my multi-cut, I click that vertex, I click the vertex below it, hit enter, and now we're back to a good spot. So I'm going to edit, delete all by type, history, modify, freeze transforms, and file, save scene as. And I'm going to override this because, all right, so save that. Yes, I would. Continue. Now in this file, I swapped this texture out a little bit so that the two images are of the same era, and that way we've got the right colors consistently across the board instead of the front being a darker turquoise and then the side being a lighter blue. So let's work smart. That's why it's important to find good reference images from the beginning and then use them all the way through. But we'll be okay. Okay, dokie. So I'm done modeling. I have my mystery machine. I'm going to go into object mode. There we go. Thank you. And let's apply a blend material, that second little sphere over here, and call it mystery machine material. And but first we can use this texture, but if I hit 6, which is my shaded with texture map mode, you can see it just right out of the box. It doesn't look that great. If I go to my UV editor, by long spacing, UV editor, and then if I right click onto UV shell, I can see that all of this region right here is being smushed, and it's just on a lot of white space. That's not what we want at all. And there's a lot of different projection modes that we could use. My favorite is the camera projection one. So if I open this up, and I'm basically saying take a snapshot and make a UV shell from this camera angle. So come back, little UV editor. So I can either do create camera based, but that didn't do what I wanted. Let me let me make sure I have everything selected. I'm gonna go into face mode, and just to be double, triple sure. And then the other way you can do it is go to UV, camera based. So if I go to my UV editor, that looks much better. Okay, so if I right click UV shell, and then I want to rotate it, and I want to make sure that I have a nice discrete rotation, so my step snap is on. So this way when I rotate it, I know that it's 90 degrees. And then it's pointing downwards. I want it to match the texture, so I need to modify flip vertical and hit apply and close that, and let's get this shell to match my texture a little bit more. So essentially what we're doing is telling Maya how to take our 3D mesh and how to apply it to a 2D texture image. That's the concept of it in a nutshell. So I'm scaling and moving right now, scaling and moving. Trying to line this up as best as I can, but I'm not going to worry about making it perfect, because what I'm going to do is make a texture that's completely light blue, and then I'll just put the stencils of the specific details that I want back on top. And you'll see that later. Maybe make that a little bit, yeah, taller. Okay. So let me show you what that does. So if I perspective around, the sides look okay. One of the sides has text that's the wrong way, and then the front is really stretched, because if you go into face mode, maybe grab one of these faces, and I go back down into my UV editor. Let's see, grab UV shell. Okay, all of the front is being crammed into this edge, and all of the front right here is being crammed in that one tiny little edge of pixels. So no wonder it looks less than desirable right now. But that's okay, we're not done yet. So I want to do another camera projection, but I want to do it for the front this time. So, okay, face mode. I'm gonna hit 7 just to make sure that I have what I wanted selected, and that's a big fat no. 7 is lighting mode, and I don't have any lighting right now, so it just looks black. But it's really easy to see things when you do that. So let me marquee deselect all of these. Okay, is that better? Okay, let me toggle the visibility of my reference images. I don't need them right now. All right, double checking. Yeah, okay. Show. Let's do another, come on. Let me short space into my camera view. There we go, okay. Apparently third time is the charm. So if I go to UV, camera based, and then pop up in my UV editor, I have another shell to work with. So let's position that over here. And I hit F to zoom in. And the most important thing for me is I don't want the curvy textures to get cut off. So if it's a little wider than the texture, I'm okay with that, just because I'm cheating. I'm big time cheating in how I do this, and you'll see. I mean, you could painstakingly make sure that the UVs are precisely where they need to be, but I don't have time for that, and I don't think you want to do that either. So anyway, working smarter, not harder. So let's save this file. Save as. Let's do Mystery Machine Demo 01. Okay, save as. Continue. And then let me show you where we are now. Short space, please. There we go. Okay. Hit 6 to go back to the textured mode. We have some Scooby-Doo people in the texture. We will work on that. That's fine. But most of what we want is already there. But it gets better. So, I have that. I have that. Okay. So next, let's make it even spiffier. I'm going to do something called Create PSD Network. So this will allow me to save in Photoshop, and then the changes instantly push over to Maya, or sometimes you have to reload it, and then you can shorten the feedback loop. So normally, if you didn't have this, you would have to save, and then you would have to either override the same file over and over again, and then you would reload it. And anyway, this is just a nice shortcut. I really like it. So I'm going to create PSD Network, and like I've said in class, it won't work unless you have your object selected in object mode. So image, create PSD Network, I get this menu, it actually pops up. Woohoo! Okay, so it dumps into your source images. This is a really gross looking name, so I'm going to call it Demo 01. Let's open it in Photoshop afterwards, that little checkbox right there. We've got a square texture size because all of your textures should be square dimensions. And then I'm going to pull over the color channel. So I just did this little right arrow right here. And let's apply. And I have some magic in the making already here. We have our color, and so this is the texture, and then we have our UV snapshot. So in here, I'm going to make a new layer. And what I want to do is, now I have to remember my Photoshop, Control++, that's right, okay. I'm going to hit I and get that light blue. I'm going to Command A or Control A, and then I'm going to Alt backspace. So now everything is blue. So if you want to see what that did, if I hit Control Save, Control S, and then tab over, let's get rid of that. Object mode. Okay. I don't know why this is pink. Let's see. Try that. Save. Well, let's see if I do image, update networks. Okay, what do we got here? Object texture UV tiling generate preview button not found. Okay, so that looks like something I get to look into later, but all is not really lost because we could always export the image back out after we're done. So let's keep moving forward. object mode. Maybe we'll try reloading this. Okay, I'm going to Google this really quickly. Let's hit pause.